Hi, and welcome to Coach's Corner, where systems matter and both personal and professional learning and development is beneficial for everyone and essential for some. As always, please like, subscribe, comment, share, and hit the notification bell. Let's get started.
Hey everyone, today we're joined with Brett Zandis, better known as Coach LittleZ 23, and today we're going to be talking about business, and so we're going to jump right into it. What is your business structure?
Well, technically speaking, we have three corporations. The one in the middle, we don't own. It's a nonprofit, but we run it.
Got it.
So you don't own that, but you're just running it. And then, so we have GFI, which is our corporation. And then we have the DTs. So we have the DTs, and primarily we've got rid of these.
Okay.
But anyway, and so what we do is we call them parlayed parties.
Okay.
And part of the parlayed parties are what we call corporate companies.
Mm-hmm.
And those are those three there. So GFI, ETL, and then the DTs.
Yeah.
And then underneath those, we have, business DBAs. We call them beautiful businesses.
Beautiful.
Right. Yeah, I got these BBs and AAs. It's a problem.
Yeah.
Anyway, and so underneath primarily GFI, we have a lot of different businesses like Consult for Kids. We have Anything Goes. We have what we call Out of School Time Essentials. We have URX. And so URX is our leadership program, and or as a team, you can come on and we'll teach you systems as far as team goes, or as an incredible individual, as an individual person. And so that's URX, and then Anything Goes is about like that.
Yeah.
Anything that's, we say legal and ethical and can help people.
Yes.
But usually that's primarily like our collectible business, or, like where we're selling sports memorabilia or different things of that nature.
Right.
And then Consult for Kids is our primary, and that's where we go up and down the state of California and have contracts with some of the largest nonprofits and school districts, and even with different departments of education and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And so what that does is it helps the adults who work with kids, primarily in after-school programming, but we do K-12 education and different things of that nature. And then GFI, which is the umbrella over all these little DBAs, that's Global Freedom Insurance. It's a life insurance business.
Okay.
But we do health insurance, and we do all kinds of insurances there.
Yeah.
Not car insurance.
Yeah. There you go.
We do annuities and different things of that nature. So that's kind of the corporate structure, and the DBAs underneath that. And then in Trust and Legacy does something very similar to Consult for Kids.
Uh-huh.
And they do the same thing. Everything they do is helping youth.
Okay.
So last year, as an example, in Trust and Legacy bought $500 worth of shoes for a bunch of high school kids. The year, and that they do a bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
The year before that, they hired 5 different people to do different things in the summer. So there was one that was a college student. There were 3 or 4 that were high school students. And anyway, we just hired them for the summer to do whatever. So, but everything they do is about youth. Everything. And so that's kind of the middle piece, And then, like I said, the DTs is really kind of Anything Goes now. But we used to have a thrift store, and we did swap runs and just different things of that nature on that side. And then the third part of that, so we go corporations, businesses, and then we call them entities, which would be like Coach LittleZ 23. And then Dr. G-Ma, she'll be coming out with Grandma's Attic. And then also, it would also be like, so I'm Brett Timothy Zandis.
Yeah.
So it could be BTZ, which would be an entity, which would be like my own personal, let's say, Facebook and whatnot.
Got it.
So that's kind of the structure.
Yeah.
And then we have a whole bunch of other services and products that we may be trying out that will ultimately fit underneath there, or we'll create another company out of it.
Yeah.
So it just kind of depends if it gets traction or not. If we can stick it underneath these, then we do it. If not, then we'll continue to go wide.
Got it. Okay. So we're going to jump into some overall questions.
Yeah.
And so my first one is kind of a two-part. First, can you describe to us what a freelancer is, so that my second question will make more sense?
Yeah, so everybody has different terminology, but a self-employed independent contractor or a freelancer, that's somebody that you're not employing, but you're just asking them to do, usually like it's a one-time thing.
Got it.
It can be several, one time. So we're redoing some logos and different things, and so we have one guy that we really like.
Okay.
And so he may do like 5 or 7 of the different logos. And so he's a freelancer. We got him off of, I think, like Fiverr or wherever we got him from. And so that's usually somebody that's a self-employed independent contractor. They have a certain like skill. And so when we go out and do consulting for businesses, whether it's our leadership program or whether it's consulting or different things of that nature, we're technically self-employed independent contractors or freelancers for the school districts or the after-school programs or the nonprofits.
Right.
So it's just it's a non-employee type relationship.
Gotcha. And so for someone that's a freelancer that has a job, one, is that obtainable to do? And two, what are your suggestions for, let's say, someone that is, like you said, a graphic designer?
Yeah, so yes and yes, right? Yes and yes. So yeah, of course you can be an employee and then, people call it their side hustle or whatever. Or they're just, they like to work. I mean, I would have done that.
Yeah.
And so, and what was the second part of the question? So yes, and I forgot my second yes.
How would you suggest what are suggestions for someone that works full-time and also a graphic designer?
Yeah, so I mean, it's like anything else, right? So you already have, a business or you have a service or a product that you're selling. So then step 2 is always to go out and find what I call POIs, people of interest, which would be your clients or your customers.
Right.
And so again, if you're a freelancer, graphic designer, you can contact us if you'd like. But we have a guy now, but people will start and stop, fits and start, fits and starts. But you would put yourself out there on Fiverr or Craigslist, or I'm sure there's a bunch of different platforms, freelancer or self-employed independent contractor platforms out there.
Right.
Indeed, I think that's a job.
Oh yeah.
Where there's a bunch of that kind of stuff out there that would help you to go and get clients or customers.
Yeah.
And then I love what I call natural networking. And then getting referrals, and I don't know if we'll talk about that sometime in the next
hour,
but to me that's a really good way to drum up some business.
Right. Well, let's jump into it now that you brought it up.
Okay.
So can you break those down for us? Natural networking. What was it?
I call them real referrals.
Real referrals and traditional transmissions.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay.
I put these, TT, MMA together, and some of them don't make sense yet. And so now that we're putting it out to the world, we've got to get that tighter.
Right.
Language matters, right?
Yeah,
Could you imagine, Tom Brady going in the huddle and he goes, all this long-winded razor 4927, whatever, and he says that to this group, and then that, language matters.
Absolutely.
So we're going to get that tightened up. But yeah, so natural networking, the thing I like about it is what I call your hot market.
Yeah.
Right. So as the airplane goes down, you put the oxygen mask on yourself first.
Right.
So I don't know, if anybody's ever bought a Kirby vacuum before, but that's the first question I ask any salesperson when they come to me. As I say, do you want a Kirby? And most of those little guys, 18, 19, they don't even have a house,
right?
And they go, no. And I say, get the step. Like, what do you mean? I'm like, well, if you don't believe enough in your product to buy it first, then what the heck? So you would start with yourself first. So I have life insurance. I've already went through our whole program for both online consulting and, I run the system, so me first, right? And then what are you going to do? I'm not going to go share with the audience. I'm not going to save them next. I'm going to go to my family members and my close friends and so on and so forth. And then we're going to open up the oxygen mask to everybody else. And so they say everybody knows 40,000 people. And I win a lot of bets on this.
Yeah.
And so I have what you call a list that you make of 200 people. Well, they go, I can't even make a list of 200. I go, oh, really? I go, well, let's just start with, 20.
Yeah.
And then what we'll do is we'll brainstorm out 20 pretty quick. Mom, dad, auntie, grandmother, cousin, sister.
Yeah.
Right? Best friend, whatever.
Yeah.
And then I say, okay, well, who's your top 7?
Yeah.
Right? And so we want to make this list of 200.
Right.
But we start with 20 or maybe 25, and then we reduce it to 7.
Yeah.
And right there, I'm done. I could be done. But then what I do is I give them a memory jogger, and it's got like, let's say, 100 different like professions on there.
Oh.
You know any teachers? Then the list they start adding.
Right.
Somebody who cuts hair. By the way, do you know anybody who cuts hair? Because if you do, you need to get that thing cut.
I really don't. I need to find someone.
So anyway, he used to have short hair.
Yeah.
0 guard and whatever, 1 on the top.
Yeah.
Now it's, I don't know what that is. Medusa looking. You and your brother. But anyway, and so what'll happen is that you have this list and you'll come up with 200 very quick. So then they're like, yeah, well, that's only 200. And I go, with those 200, no 200.
Right.
And that's 40,000, right? And they're like, so I tell people all the time, you start a business on people that you know, but you build a business on people that you do not know.
Got it.
So yeah, all the traditional methods, which we'll get into, are great, but natural networking is the best. And the other thing that it does too is you get somebody else that will run their mouth, for you and with you.
Right.
So when I was in the insurance business, I was doing my own networking.
Yeah.
But then I recruited an agent in. Now we're both running our mouths. And then he recruited and I helped him to get his guy. So all of a sudden you have, 30, 40 agents. And you're making money, what I call other people's efforts, right. OPE. But you've taught them, you've trained them, you've worked with them, and everybody goes, "Oh, that's a pyramid." I'm like, no, it's a multi-level marketing. And by the way, just so we all are clear, so's basically Walmart and Target and every other business. There's somebody at the top that started it,
right.
And then they have their people underneath, and it goes from there. Yeah. So that's what I love about networking. The biggest thing is you're in a hot market.
Yeah. Right.
So will you give me $5?
Yes.
Okay. If I go ask 10 other people that I don't know, it's a coin flip, and it's probably less than that.
Yeah.
But I know you, so you're probably going to help me.
Yes.
So then the second part of that is, when I say, well, 40,000 people, that other 20,000. Or the other 38,000 or 39,800, because you only know 200. That would be what I would call when you get into the referral part.
Okay.
And so the difference is you get multiple mouths running with you and for you on networking. When you get referrals, you still have to do all the work. So I would go and say, hey, 10 people that might be interested in whatever, or a better way to say it is, can I just get 10 of your family members' names and numbers? Right. But then you have to do the contacts, the text, the social media, the DMs, the actual phone calls or whatever. So that's referrals.
Got it.
Both of those are really good because you go from a hot market to a warm market. Yeah. Because they don't know you, but they know somebody, and so that works out. And then you get out into what I call the cold and the freezing market, which is traditional methods. Yeah. Which, traditionally would be, you all right?
Yeah, I like the light or something.
We got lights and camera in action, right? But the traditional transmissions, in like your V8, but that's going to be like typically your TV, your radio, different things like that. But now it's also text, email, fax, and everything. Fax, right? Yeah. Social media, all of that kind of stuff. Right. Banner ads, flyers. All of that kind of stuff is what I call traditional. And the difference to me between cold and freezing is if you hit somebody up and they don't even want what you have, that's a freezing market, right? And that's a tough market because then you have to convince them that they need it. Right. And then if you're talking about a cold market, they don't know you, but they know they need it. So somebody needs life insurance, but they're like, yeah, they don't know you. Right. So that's kind of, what I call the 3 ways that you can go out and get attention and blink on people so that you're able to sell them or share with them or whatever.
Right, absolutely. And so for someone that is trying to bring in customers and build income, or bringing more income for their business, they would start with a natural network.
Absolutely.
And then they move to referrals, and then they move into transmissions.
Yeah.
When do they
or do all of them?
Do all of them
simultaneously, right?
Got it. Yeah.
But yes, I think you should start with you first.
Right.
If I'm selling microphones, I'm gonna go buy a microphone first.
Right.
Right. And so I'm not gonna just do networking. I'm gonna put some stuff out there in that cold and freezing market.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna do networking and referral. Because if I say, hey, you want to come sell microphones with me, and they go no, then I would hit them with a referral.
Right.
Well, can you give me? You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I don't think it's like a siloed situation.
Got it.
I think it could be a braided one.
Braided one. Gotcha. But if it was possible to stay in the hot natural network, that'd be the way to go. You never know, just run all three at the same time.
Yeah, I prioritize.
Okay.
And so the most effective way is through networking.
Yeah.
It's a little bit more time intensive, but your ratios of sales go way up.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
And the other thing is, if you do the networking correctly, meaning you're not just working, by yourself, that's pretty good stuff, because now you got, 10 people running their mouth to 100 people a week, and now all of a sudden, now you've got 1,000 people that are potential, clients or customers.
Yeah.
And there you go.
Gotcha. Is it possible for someone to stay in the natural network forever, or do they eventually have to get out?
Yeah. And I think it depends what business it is, but in the insurance business, we never had to leave. Matter of fact, the guy that taught me, he has 4,500 agents. And just to give you an idea, at one time when I had about 10 agents, I was making about $30,000 to $50,000 a year before I got out of bed.
Right.
Off of what I had taught them, and they were going doing their own thing.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, that's less than 10. He has 4,500 agents.
Yeah.
And he does one system. He doesn't even do referrals. He does zero traditional. He does zero referral. Because we used to fight about it a lot. I'm like, dude, we could do more. Sometimes more is not better. It's like medication, right?
Yeah.
Well, I'm taking this medication and I'm feeling pretty good.
Right.
Right? And, and then you go, I'm going to take more.
Right.
Now I'm not feeling so good.
Yeah.
So more is not always better, but a lot of times volume can be better.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Got it. Well, thank you. Moving into our first category of business names. One is probably pretty important for a business name, because that's what people are going to hear. So how do you come up with your business names for, like you said, GFI, Soul for Kids, and things like that?
Yeah, so before, I don't want to disagree with the boss.
Yeah.
But I think names really don't matter.
Okay.
Okay. Nike. What the heck does that have to do with the shoe or physical attire or anything else? Do you know?
I do, actually.
Okay.
It's actually I believe god or goddess in the Greek mythology of running, speed, things like that. Okay,
so it ties in with running and shoes, but now they do right?
Yeah.
So it does tie in, but in the end, they had to build a brand,
right?
And that technically had nothing to do, or very little to do with the brand that they built.
Right.
They said, hey, we're going to go get professional athletes.
Yeah.
They're going to say, hey, this Nike stuff is good.
Right.
And then, and so on and so forth. And so I'm not saying it doesn't matter, but a lot of times, it doesn't matter. I've went to Dave's Mufflers before, and I'm like, hey, where's Dave? He's like, oh, there's nobody named. Well, was there ever the business? Anybody named it? No. I'm Bob, and I started the business. Why'd you call it Dave? I just thought it was, catchy name. All right, whatever, right?
Got it.
So I do think that in the end, it's not a major big deal.
Okay.
But that being said, I like to be thoughtful about everything.
Right.
And I like to make some connections like that.
Right.
And I like it to make it a little bit more in your face than maybe Nike did, because you would have to go research.
Yeah.
What they do, and then there's some stretching, whatever.
Yeah.
I wish I could brand like them.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So I'll give you an idea of a simple one that we did. So we've had about 10 or 11 businesses. Yeah. This was the most awful we were.
Okay.
So it's Consult for Kids.
Yep.
So we didn't have a business at this time. We ran an after school program for a school district.
Yeah.
And then the state came in and thought we were doing an exceptional job.
Uh-huh.
And so they picked a bunch of people in the state of California, and they developed 11 regions, and we would meet up, I don't remember, like quarterly, and so on and so forth, and then we would go out and help others.
Okay.
And so what would happen is that we would go, meet with people, and the attrition rate was so high. Let's say I trained 1,000 people January 1, and 3 months later we'll go back to train, or 2 months later, or 2 weeks later, 2 days later, and the attrition rate was like 30-40%.
Right.
And so they were gone. Yeah. So we said, okay, out of necessity, we got to do something. We're problem solvers. So we did a library, which turned into courses of videos.
Yeah.
And we fashioned it after YouTube.
Right.
And, now long form is real popular. But back then it was like little 3-minute videos, in and out. So that's how we did it. So you're like, well, that's not answering my question. I'll get to it. So we were driving back from one of those regional places that we were helping, and we're like, you know what? We may have a business here. Mm-hmm. And so we just started being thoughtful. And we said, what's our number one priority? Help kids.
Right.
So we go, okay, well, kids probably should be in there somewhere. And then are we helping the kids directly? No. Who are we helping? Well, we're helping the adults.
Right.
Okay, well, how are we helping them? Well, we're training them. We're consulting them. Right? So we started brainstorming. We're training, teaching, educating. Right?
Oh, yes.
And we went,
Yeah.
we're consulting. And it kind of worked. The cuss sound. Consult for kids.
Right.
So we're like, okay, consulting kids makes sense.
Yeah.
And then we said, well, what are we, how does this tie together? And it was real easy.
Yeah.
We said 4. We're training or consulting the adults that work with the kids, and so it was consulting, and we just said 4 because it was better than FOR.
Right.
And so that's how we came up with the name. Mm-hmm. So I just say, brainstorm, categorize, take it over to column 2, figure out what the categories are, start adding more to it, mind dump, throw all in there, take it over to the next one, and eventually you're going to find a decent name. And if not, just name it Dave's Mufflers. Yeah. Even if it's a consulting business, it'll work. I mean, it really doesn't matter.
No, absolutely. And so after you created Consult for Kids, what's the next move from there?
As far as,
do you start the business up next? Do you start advertising? Like, what is your next step after creating the name of your business?
Yeah, to me, there's 3 steps to a business. Step 1 is, what are you going to be selling? Okay. Sharing, whatever that word you want to call it. Yeah. Right? And so that's step 1. Step 2 is you got to go out and get attention. Mm-hmm. You got to, what I call blinking. Yeah. You got to go out and get people's attention. Right. I can show you my sexy leg, to get attention. And then the third part of that is once you get their attention and you sell them on whatever the service, product, or merchandise is, you go to the last part, which is you got to take care of them. Right. Take care of the people, right? And then you just kind of rinse and repeat all the way through.
Got it. And when it comes to advertising the business, is it better to advertise the business name or the person behind the business?
So I want you to come back to that question, but I want to talk about something very specific. So if you don't mind remembering that, come back to it. I want to talk, and I'm not saying this is industry terms, but this is how we define it. So because when you say advertising, it means something very specific to us. Okay. So we believe in branding. Right. Okay, and we'll talk about that more in a second. Yeah. And then we believe in marketing. Right. And then we believe in advertising. Okay, so we count those as 3 distinct things that we do. Got it. So branding is what we would call in the macro. So that is that we're trying to get logo recognition, tagline recognition, color recognition, right? We're trying to just be known. Yeah. So that if somebody were to say, I have an after-school program and I need to get some consulting, or I have a business and we need some consulting. Right. Or, we need to da-da-da-da-da, and we need Coach LittleZ because he can either develop a system or give us a system that would help. Right. So that's all branding, and we count that 18 months to infinity. Okay. That's how long it would take to be able to brand in a way to where we're getting name recognition. That the first thing you think of is that. Okay? And I want to tell you a story on that. So my youngest brother, we call him the oopsie baby. He's like 13 years younger. he was doing real estate. He was very thoughtful and really worked hard with this gal from Bakersfield, and her mom was from LA. The mom was going to move to Bakersfield, and they were trying to find a house. And for 6 months, back and forth, pretty much every other weekend, looking for houses, nothing ever happened. So he lost touch with her.
Yeah.
And so, like 3 years later, he saw the mom. He was like, "Oh, how's your daughter doing?" "Oh, well, she just moved up the street from where I'm at." And my brother's like, "Dude, like I spent all this time with you."
Right.
But because he had not built a brand, meaning it wasn't conscious, right?
Yeah.
Nike is consciously here. Now Amazon, it's all over, right?
Right.
It's constantly in your face. So when you get the little plumber magnet that you put on your refrigerator, that's why.
Right.
Because it's out of sight, out of mind, or inside in mind.
Right.
So that's the branding part of it.
Got it.
That happens in the macro. Then there's the marketing part of it.
Yeah.
And all you marketing gurus out there, I've been ripped off for a lot of money because they're not what I call marketing. Marketing to me has to ring the register.
Okay.
And it doesn't have to happen, today, but within a 30, 60, 90-day period, that money has to be able to come back to you. So there's all these marketing agencies out there that I would like to have a little chat with when we were first starting, because we didn't know the difference.
Right.
That they're like, "Oh yeah, guaranteed." But yeah, we lost a lot of money doing that.
Right.
But that's the marketing. I would call it the mesos.
Okay.
And then you have in the micro, which is advertising. So I just want to make sure that's what you were saying, coming back to that, which is like paid advertisement. And there should be a pretty direct return from that, like days, weeks, seconds, whatever.
Yeah.
So I just want to make sure that, for us, when you say that, I don't want to answer a question that you're not asking.
Yeah, got it. So then I would say, would you brand the business or the person behind the business?
Let's say that again.
Would you brand?
Okay. Yeah. So I don't know.
Okay.
So let's think about MetLife.
Yeah.
They brand Snoopy. They don't brand either one of those. They don't brand the business, and they don't brand the person behind it.
Yeah.
They decided to do a cartoon character.
Right.
And it worked out really well for them, right? And then you've got Nike,
right,
who brands Michael and Tiger, and
right.
They're not even branding the person that runs the business.
Right.
They're branding, right?
Right.
Okay. Then you have Gary Vee.
Yeah.
Gary Vee is the brand.
Right.
Right. For Vayner and the wine and right.
Right.
So he's all the above.
Yes.
And then you got the opposite of Gary. There's a lot of CEOs out there worth 150, 250, 100 million, a lot of money that people don't even know.
Right.
Because they like to be, under the scene, so to speak. And then you have the last thing you said, which there's businesses out there that brand the business.
Right.
So I think it kind of depends on, they all can be equally effective.
Yeah.
But I think you need to choose and pick. And so if you're a CEO that doesn't want to be out in front like a Gary Vaynerchuk, then maybe you choose Snoopy.
Right.
Or Michael Jordan, or whatever. If you're, he's such a really good, high-powered personality that he probably was the best choice.
Right.
So as long as you're making the best choice, then do that.
Right.
And we do it all kinds of different ways, and so it just depends.
Got it.
I'm gonna bring a monkey mascot into the Coach LittleZ world.
Yeah.
Right? No, but like for Coach LittleZ, it has to be me.
Right, because
I'm either gonna resonate with the people or I'm not.
Right, absolutely. Yeah. Second topic of discussion today is marketing versus branding. Yeah. So now I don't even need to ask you what the difference is. We just talked about it. Right.
I'm ahead of the game, baby.
Yes. And so when it comes to marketing versus branding, I guess it depends on timing, what you're looking for. But when you first started, what was your, well, I guess not when you first started because you had to get the distinction, but once you got the distinction between marketing and branding, what was the decision to make and why did you make it? So did you go branding versus marketing?
Yeah, so, let's go back to the original part of the question.
Yeah.
At first, you're more reacting than responding.
Right.
They would call us like, hey, you can help us.
Yeah.
Right? So a lot more reactive than what I would call proactive.
Right.
So that's the first part of that. And then the second part of that, we do all three. We're just getting ready to do more advertising. We haven't done a lot of that.
Yeah.
And I would say that we've done branding, but not as powerfully as we're going to do it now.
Yeah.
And then, we did a lot of marketing and a lot of just what I would call networking, or even people just coming to us because they knew we were, the expert in the field, and we were, I say we were the best. I don't know, maybe, but we were one of the best that can help them.
Right.
And so now that we're, going to start branching out and, do that kind of stuff, then we've got to do a really good job of branding.
Yeah.
And we've got to do a good job of advertising so that we can continue to, to grow and expand.
Right.
And then, we've always kind of done the marketing thing because that's what most people do. It's a transactional situation.
Right, absolutely.
And we're trying to look much bigger than that, and even what I would call much smaller than that.
Right, got it. That makes sense. Now I know that branding and marketing have two distinct different functions.
Yeah, in our world,
yes, in your world. One is short term versus long term. So I know it's a tough question to ask. But out of the two, which one do you think is better in the long run? Because as you said, no money, no mission.
Yeah.
Versus branding is 18 months and it takes time. So
I think it's about brand, and I think that as we continue to go into whatever century it is, as we continue to go into artificial intelligence and voice and different things of that nature, right now everything's on the internet with the algorithms and stuff, and that. But I think that that's going to change,
right.
And so I think brand's going to mean everything.
Yeah.
Right, in the end. And, the big boys are continuing to swallow up the little guys.
Yeah.
So, can you make a good, what I would call living? So I call it living, which is, an employee plus whatever.
Yeah.
And then you have lifestyle.
Right.
Right. And then you have wealth building, which is generational.
Right.
So I know a lot of people live a great lifestyle. They make, $250,000 a year. They spend $250,000 a year, but they go to, Hawaii 3 times a year. They have a great lifestyle.
Right.
And then, people starting out, they make a great living.
Yeah.
They got a house, they got a car, but it's nothing spectacular.
Right.
Then you have the generational wealth thinkers that are thinking about not even their grandkids, but their grandkids' grandkids. So to me, that will revolve around branding.
Yeah.
Right. And but I've seen it happen the other way too. I mean, a lot of these little companies, they figured out how to do, either marketing or advertising, and one of the big companies swallows them up, pays them $50 million for their business.
Right.
Well, that's probably generational wealth, unless you're a complete idiot.
Right. Yeah. Yes, of course. So, talking specifically about branding.
Yeah.
What were some of your guys' favorite ways or most successful ways of branding?
Yeah, so, again, we're just starting that process because we didn't have to worry about it or think about it.
Okay.
And when we decided that what we had was really good and we had it really tight, we wanted to share it with the rest of the world.
Yeah.
So this, right? Are you, I'm asking, is he getting paid? Yeah, he is. I'm not getting paid for this.
Right.
But I mean, technically speaking, are you making one penny off of this?
No.
No. But I'm hoping that we can help people and support them, provide value for them, so that ultimately maybe one day they'll say, hey, I have this business and I remember Coach LittleZ or Consult for Kids or whatever seemed like a pretty cool dude.
Yeah.
Right? And if nothing else, that interviewer with the long hair, he was a cutie.
Right.
Right? And so whatever the case may be, that to where somebody can take that and utilize it. And if that's as far as it goes, I'm comfortable with that. I've done that my whole life.
Yeah.
I've given and not got a lot back in return.
Right.
But yeah, I'm hoping that one day that may be able to turn around for us. And if it does, great. If it doesn't, great. As long as it helps, that's what I care about.
Right. Absolutely. Got it. Talking about marketing now.
Yeah.
When it came to the scripts and different things like that, what were some of your more successful marketing ideas?
Everyone was different. we were in a great location downtown with a thrift store. We didn't have to do anything. Open the door, people would come in. Cause it was a high trafficked area.
Got it.
And so we just put out a little sign, and we did a card store in the back, and put out a sign. People were, you got sports cards and sports, that kind of stuff. But we do a lot of different marketing. We call it like fishing. So we say, hey, we got to get the fishing poles in there. So we got to properly bait them.
Yeah.
We got to get them in the right waters.
Right.
We got to, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so we have another thing that we talk about. It goes stream and then pond, stream and then pond, stream and then pond, so on and so forth.
Yeah.
And so in our world of like Consult for Kids, we've never had to advertise. We never had to market. We didn't have to do anything. It just kind of worked out.
Yeah.
And so we were already in, let's say, pond 0, and there were fish galore, and people would contact us. They still do.
Yeah.
We don't have to do anything.
Right.
So, I guess that's a form of branding.
Yeah.
Right? But it was really other people's word of mouth.
Right.
So I don't really call that as a brand per se, but that's just word of mouth.
Yes.
So, we're there, and that's where we're still at. But now we're saying, hey, what's in pond 1? And how do we do that? And so we have a whole series of things that we do with social media, even with Craigslist, with other, what I would call third-party sites out there.
Yeah.
Some of our lesson plans are on a third-party site called Teachers Pay Teachers. Right. We're going to load all of our courses on some of the, you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
So there's so many different ways to market. It's ridiculous.
Right.
Right? And so, text, email, blah, blah. I mean, you can go on and on and on and on, and we do all of those things.
Right.
And then what we'll do with whatever, we'll find what we call the cash cow.
Yeah.
That's helping a bunch of people and also helping us, and then we'll bolster that one. But we'll still do the others because you don't know what's going to happen here. Right. But we spend a little amount of time.
Right.
Like you as a decathlete, you're a great pole vaulter and not a great 400 runner.
Yeah.
So you did both because you weren't going to go, I'll score 800 points in the pole vault, so I don't need to score any over here.
Right.
So you do them all, but you were concentrating on, hey, where are my strengths at? Right. And let's add a little bit more there where most people don't. Right. Let me go run this guy to death, so now he can't even run down the pole vault runway and really get the points, and that's where the points were at anyway, and the hurdle. So we were just smart.
Right, absolutely. Yeah. And when you said when it comes to marketing, see results in 30, 60, 90 days.
Yes.
And when that doesn't happen after 90 days, and it's a change of approach, one, that probably doesn't feel good because you thought maybe that the idea was good and just didn't work out. Or was it a timing thing, or could it have been both?
It could be all the above. So let's go back to the fishing analogy, right? So let's say that the fishing pole is the tool that we use.
Yes.
So we use a tool called Hootsuite, right? And that we load all the social medias that we can on there, the messages. We can preload them for, till the dinosaurs come back. Right, and then it'll send them out at the time of whatever. Yeah. So let's count that as the tool, right? And then we have the water, which I would say would be the platform, like Facebook or whatever. Yes. Then you have the fish, which would be the people that are on Facebook, the people that are on Teachers Pay Teachers, right? Whatever all of those are. Hey, that's free advertisement for you guys. Yeah. You guys can throw us a few bucks this way. You know what I'm saying, though? Yes. And so that's that, and then the bait is the right message. Right. Are you contextually saying the right thing? Are you stirring the pot, right? Right. So I haven't fished for a long time, but we used to fish with like lures and flies when we go trout fishing, and we caught a lot. Well, now I hear that maybe power bait is maybe they have new stuff out. Yeah. So you have to change the message, right, so that it's contextual to that fish or audience, so to speak. Right. So you can always tweak and adjust, but sometimes you're putting perfectly baited hooks with perfect bait, with perfect everything, and there's no fish in that pond because they've went to pond 1. Right. So you better figure out how to get to pond 1 or 2 or 5 or you're going to be doing a lot of work for no results. Right, got it. That makes sense. Yeah.
So moving into this COVID-19 situation in business owners.
Yeah.
My first question is do you think small businesses will ever make a comeback?
I think so. I mean, you know, I always say there's three reasons that businesses fail.
Yeah.
And there's three reasons why businesses succeed, and they're the same.
Uh-huh.
It's a mindset piece.
Yeah.
It's a structure and systems, which is where I think we can come in,
Uh-huh.
whether you're an individual or whether you're a big business. And then the third one is the person themselves.
Right.
So, you know, even the best people sometimes falter. I mean, Tiger Woods was the best in the world, and he faltered that.
Yeah.
We saw a little thing on him the other day, which, you know, why it gets brought to my attention. So there's great business owners and entrepreneurs, and they just got sidetracked, or they got COVID swiped, or whatever. And yeah, they'll come back. So did Tiger.
Right.
Right. I mean, if you're that kind of person where you have this high talent, you'll come back.
Right.
And then others will not. They just go, you know what, the grind, and they just mentally. Usually that's a mental thing. They got beat down to a point where they just can't come back from it.
Yeah.
But I do find that whether you're on one of those two, systems help.
Right.
Because it kind of keeps you always going right there. You know, if you have a system that goes, pond one isn't working, the system will take you to pond two.
Right.
If you're a hard head because you're used to winning, you stay in there.
Yeah.
Or if your mindset, you know, or you're like, I'm sleeping on the job because my mindset's not right.
Yeah.
But the systems will help you no matter where you're at mentally or what kind of person you are. They'll help.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And with mentality of being entrepreneurs, business owners that are thinking ahead and everything like that, what do you think were some of the best businesses that were created or started because of COVID?
I don't know. I stay in my lane, dude. I'm in my own world, and you know, I'll double dip, meaning like sometimes I'll be working and listening to somebody else or whatever. But I don't get out into other people's business too much. If they're successful, I want to hear why they're successful, and are they following a similar path as most, which is the case.
Yeah.
But sometimes they'll go, you know, I'll hear something new.
Yeah.
Because I've listened to a lot of sermons and a lot of self-help tapes over the years.
Right.
I'm double dipping, you know, while I'm working. They say, Wilson, while you work, I'm listening to this person or that person, especially when I want to learn about stuff.
Right.
If it's new to me or whatever the case may be. So I can't give a good or a great answer to that. Mm-hmm. But I will say, you know, there's obvious things, right? Like if you produce the vaccine, that's a great business. If you happen to have a strong online presence, Amazon, right? If you're Zoom, I'm guessing your business went up.
Right.
If you do masks, your business probably went up. But what I do want to say to entrepreneurs and business owners is, like, that's cool.
Yeah.
And you can make a lot of money and help a lot of people. That's cool. But I like the people that look outside of the box a little bit.
Yeah.
So one of the things that I had realized during this was that plastics were going to go up.
Mm-hmm. Plastics.
Anything.
Oh.
So fiberglass, plastics, whatever. So, you know, and the reason I found that out was I collect a lot of sports cards.
Yeah.
And so I would buy the little savers, you know, where you stick them in and whatever. So I buy a lot. I get ahead of the curve on them just because I don't like to be without them.
Right.
And by the way, rest in peace, Hank Aaron. I have a couple of his cards. But anyway, so I don't know. I was like, and I noticed that the price jumped just a little bit on them, and I'm like, I started really, you know, analyzing and thinking, like, oh, well, it makes sense because whether it's the face shields or whether it's the plexiglass or whether, so, you know, plastic stuff went up. So I went and bought a whole bunch of, I should have went and bought a plastics company, but I'm really not that guy. I love to capitalize, but not on stuff like that. I like to capitalize on something that's not in the mainframe.
Right.
You know, which is probably stupid, but I enjoy that better.
Got it. And speaking of, you like to learn things like that, what were some of the biggest lessons you learned in this COVID situation surrounding business?
Well, I'd say a couple things. One, you know, I'm glad we had multiple lines.
Yeah.
Number two, I'm glad that we live well below our means, right? Because we realize that it's a roller coaster ride in business, but anywhere really.
Yeah.
Right. So people that are employees, they go, oh, well, it's not a roller coaster ride for me. And I'm like, Well, it is, because your COLA, your cost of living adjustment, is 3% every 2 or 3 years, and inflation's going at 2. You're actually going backwards. Right. Last I checked, simple math, you're going backwards. So you should be concerned about it, just as much as anybody else, in regards to, it's not just business owners or entrepreneurs. Everybody, is going to feel that. So I think those are the 2 biggest things. Yeah. But, there's a lot of little lessons too. Make sure you have an online presence. Make sure we always were anyway, but be extra nice and whatever to your BOIs or your customers, your clients, right? Because everybody's going, well, I can order online.
Right. Absolutely.
Okay, so if you were a donkey to your customers and they had to go there because you're the one that had the 40 in the liquor store right around the corner, I don't know, can you order alcohol? I don't drink much.
Yeah, you can actually.
Well, there you go. So if you're a jackass, I can order it now, right? Because we just think different. Yeah. And that's what I love about perspective or perceptions. Mm-hmm. And so if you don't mind, I'll give you 2 little touch points on that. We call touch points like quotes, parables, metaphors, all that stuff. So 2 of them. So one's a perception thing. Okay. So in Bakersfield, my mom's driving down 8th Street and there's like 50 lights. It's downtown and there's a light everywhere, right? Yeah. And so she's in a hurry, she's late, and she, of course, red light. Red light. So she's just getting frustrated and mad and all that. And she said she looks up and she sees in the light that there was a bird.
Oh, okay.
And so she went, huh. My perception is this, or my perspective is this. Yeah. But what about from the bird? Yeah. There's no noise up there. Right. He's heated, or whatever. She's heated. Yeah. She's out of the noise. She's safe. She's not straight. Right. Yeah. So, and then you have the other one that I love. And so there was a guy on the subway, and he had 3 kids with him, and these 3 kids were running amok, bumping into people and running all, So people were starting to get agitated, right? And so one guy, he finally got mad. He went up to the dad. Yeah. And the dad was kind of sitting like this, looking down. He goes, "Hey, bud, like, your kids are all over the place, they're acting like monkeys. Like, you need to get them under control." And the dad, his head's down. He looks up and he says, "Yeah, you're probably right." He says, "We just came back from the hospital and my wife died, and I definitely don't know how to deal with it. I'm sure they don't either." So then you go from, your perception or your perspective of anger and mad at this dad to where, how can I help? Right. Yeah, or the the lemons in the lemonade, or the junkers in the one man's junk's another man's treasure. Right. So we always try to look at that, but we try to do it in a preventative way. Mm-hmm. Is preventative a word? Yes. Okay. What about interventive? Interventive.
I don't even know what the other one is. I do.
Oh, okay. I appreciate that. Yeah. Like I always make up word. They call them Brettisms. Yeah. And so coachisms. There you go. Yeah. But interventive, preventative. I'm like, one of those really is not a word, or maybe both of them. But anyway. But yeah, I just think that there's your perception, and your perception is your reality, even if it's not real. Ooh. Right. That's a good Brettism, right? Your perception is your reality, even if it's not real. But that perception can change when additional information comes to fruition. Yeah,
absolutely. So for the last question on this COVID-19 situation, revolves around online business. Yeah. So we saw Amazon take this big boom and different things like that. So do you think do you think online business boomed because of COVID, or do you think that it was gonna boom later on in life? It just happened because of COVID. Does that make sense?
Yeah, both and. It boomed because of COVID. I mean, but look, we were going there. Yeah. Right? I mean, Amazon, they're smart. I mean, the whole way that he did stuff was smart. Yeah. Right? They laughed at him, dude. Yeah. When his stock was $1 or whatever. They're laughing at him because they didn't understand the difference, what I call, between growth and scale. They didn't understand what he was doing, but he understood. Right. Right? And when you get a complex infrastructure like that set up, then good things are going to be able to happen. And that's because he was thinking generational.
Yeah.
He wasn't thinking right now.
Right.
You know, and he wasn't even thinking a week or, a month or a year.
Yeah.
He's looking way down the road.
Yeah.
You know, the Tesla guy, he's thinking about
that was amazing.
underneath or up. You know, I mean, come on, man.
Yeah.
You know, he's thinking stuff that a lot of people don't think.
No,
And I dig people like that because, and that's really the entrepreneurial mind.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. Talking about online businesses now, what are the benefits of owning an online business with no store?
Well, I mean, tons. You know, so like I said, we were downtown. You don't have to worry about the bums breaking your windows and pissing on your stuff and, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
You typically aren't going to have as many employees. The overhead's going to be a lot less if you're smart.
Yeah.
I could go on and on about it.
Right.
So, to me, there's a lot of upside, to that. Now, for us, we like the interaction more face to face, so we still enjoyed that.
Right.
So again, you got what's your priority? Our priority wasn't, just money.
Right. It was.
Yeah, to help people and we, to be able to talk with them and, how's your daughter doing? How's your kid doing? Oh, I'm sorry about your dog or your goldfish or whatever. And then we could throw in the knowledge of this system or that. Or have you ever tried this? Right. Have you done mindset before?
Right.
So we were able to do that. And so that's why we like that. But, just because you like something doesn't mean it's the smartest.
Right, absolutely. Now, when it comes to you consulting, I know that you consulted at locations with schools and different things like that in businesses, and you've also done it through Zoom.
Yeah.
Both have obviously their benefits and things.
Yeah.
But which one did you like or enjoy the most?
I like the face-to-face because I have. So I always say there's two parts to people.
Yeah.
There's the art, or what I call the talent side.
Okay.
And then there's the science, what I would call the system side.
Yeah.
And so I did both in this case, but I like to be able to see people because I can read body language. Right. I'm not like a professional at it.
Yeah.
But I can read body language. So like people that are like this.
Yeah.
It's called the power position. Oh, it grosses me out because in the end, who's really in power? But it's, it can be an ego thing, or if somebody's like this, they're pointing to their brain, which means they're thinking.
Yeah.
When you're talking with people, if they look up when they answer, that means they're searching for their brain. Right? So there's little nuances like that.
Yeah.
So I'm already a good troubleshooter.
Right.
And then I married it with some science of I can look at the body language, I can do this, and I'm always listening to people. They'll tell you stuff that they know they're telling you, right?
Yeah.
And so when I can only see in the Zoom, like here up, they can be giving you the bird underneath, or half naked, or in their boxers, which I don't ever do.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I don't ever do. You know what I'm saying? So I like to. For me, because I had a heightened sense of science and art being there, it was really good, and I can read them to know whether they're being honest with themselves or with whatever. Because without honesty, it's hard to go to the next level.
Yeah, absolutely. And so, speaking of online businesses, getting back to that, with the older generation, I know yourself.
Hey,
very much of a caveman.
What?
Yes.
I only have a few gray hairs.
Yes.
Right? Matter of fact, I need a haircut.
Yes. Do you think that the older generation will struggle with this movement of online and voice and different things like that?
Some.
Yeah.
Some will, some won't. How old's Nick Saban? 69?
Is that how old he is?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, he didn't seem to have a problem with the movement. Right?
Yeah.
So I think it depends on the purpose. I'm not going to have a problem with it because you just got to go with it.
Yeah.
I don't care. Right? But some people have a big problem with it because it's the way it is. Right?
Right, absolutely.
And I'm like, man, that's not real smart.
Yeah.
As an example, and I've mentioned this on YouTube before, people ask me sometimes, well, you say the same things yeah, it's because they work. Why do I need to say 55 things if I can say the same 3 things at work or touch points or whatever? Yeah. But let's think about mortgages, right? So back in the day with my parents, and my wife's parents are a little bit older than my parents. My parents are like 72, 73, 74. And her mom and dad are like 80s, mid-80s, something like that. You bought a house, You stayed in that house for 30 years.
Yeah.
So you did a fixed 30-year mortgage.
Right.
And it made total sense if you got the right fixed rate.
Yeah.
But they weren't going to refinance, and they sure the heck were never going to move.
Right.
Enter my generation. We were moving.
Yeah.
Or refinancing. I mean, let's see. I think I've lived in 4 houses, and I guarantee you I've refinanced at least 10 times, if not more.
Yeah.
So every 3 or 4 years I'm refinancing. So one of the people that was a mentor of mine, he was telling me, he's like, why do you do a fixed mortgage rate? I didn't answer that. I was like, because my mom did. He goes, and he told me this story, and he said, well, that made sense for them. Right. But he said, you're moving or refinancing. And I'm like, you're right. So I did that. And I can't tell you how much money I made and saved by just doing that. So I would start at a 1%, everybody else had 7%. So I'd save $200, $300, $400 for the exact same house. Then the next year go to 2%. And so then I'd only, let's say it's 500. Now I'm saving 400.
Right.
Then you go 300, 200, and then you invest that money.
Yeah.
Well, all of a sudden when it gets to 7%, yeah, I could go to 12, but I'm going to refinance before it gets there. So by the time I hit 5 or even 6, you're at 7 still, and I'm going to refinance back down to a 1.
Right.
Now my last refinance, which we just closed the other day, I forget what the interest rate is, some ridiculous amount, like 1.8 or something. Yeah. And that's without a buy down. Well, you can't really beat that, so maybe a fixed rate makes sense.
Right.
So maybe you pay off your house, maybe you want to keep that other business right off.
Yeah.
Do what you want, but that's a pretty doggone good rate.
Yeah.
So I think we do things based off of tradition that don't make sense.
Right.
And I think that's not smart.
Absolutely.
It's comfortable, but it's not smart.
Got it. With online businesses, people, maybe I'm speaking for them, but I think most people would think online businesses like Tilly's or the stores, and then they also have an online presence, Amazon's and things like that. Would you consider, I know that they have like Pristine Auction or eBay, where people have eBay stores? Would you consider that an online business, or no? eBay is the online business, and it just happens to be that people are selling off that.
Hey, if you're making money, then you have a business, maybe. Okay. Meaning you could just be making money off a product. You could be just making money off of a service. You could just be making money off of somebody else's product, which I call merchandise. Mm-hmm. So just because you're making money doesn't mean that you're necessarily a business.
Got it.
So, but everybody has different, definitions of businesses.
Yeah.
Right? But, and I'm not going to judge. I mean, call whatever you want. I'm just saying there's differences.
Yeah.
So, but in your particular analogy, you would have a business. Right. I mean, right? Just because you're using their platform,
right,
doesn't mean that you don't have a business. That's the same thing with, Russell's Candy. It's good candy, by the way, sugarless. Mm-hmm. I'll take an endorsement on that. Yeah. Uses Walmart or Albertsons or whatever. That's the platform that they're using to get stuff out there, because some people want to use retail, some want to use what I call playable platforms online, and some of them want to sell direct to the customer and everywhere in between. So you do you.
Right, absolutely. And could you make that distinction for us? You just brought that up for us. So can you make that distinction between, I guess, online business and a side hobby, I guess?
I can, but I won't,
okay,
because I think everybody would call that different. So if you go look online, it'll give you one definition. Right. So like if you look online, what's scaling a business? Go say right? Yeah. And I have part of that definition the way I define it, but that's not the whole definition. How do you grow a business? What is considered a business? What is considered an entrepreneur? What is considered an inventor versus an innovator entrepreneur? What is? Come on, does it really matter? I mean, you know what, Gronk, you're a tight end, but you're basically a wide receiver. I mean, right? And so yes, we're going to call them these different things, but the thing is, everything's so convoluted. And I know with me making systems, I make my own names up for stuff.
Anyways, right.
Everybody else is calling that like, that's advertising. I'm like, not to me, it's marketing.
Right.
But it'll make sense when I tell you why I say that.
Yeah, absolutely. Gotcha. So before we move on to social media aspect of business and things like that. Is there anything you would like to discuss with the audience that I haven't asked you or that came up with and I didn't, elaborate on?
I don't think so. I just know that, like I said, business, it looks really wide and it's big. And I think that sometimes we want to pigeonhole business into this, or people go, yeah, I got a business. And I'm like, dude, you've sold 3 baseballs on eBay. That is not a business, right? But, if they want to justify that they have a business because they have a store with 3 products, then you go right ahead. Good luck to you. But that's okay. I mean, I joke about it. But, hey, if you want to say you have a business, then you have a business, right?
Right, absolutely.
Or I go to the swap once every 5 months and sell my, extra yard sale stuff. And I have a business. I'm a business owner. I'm like, okay.
Okay, you got it. So with social media, I
Yeah.
think that obviously it's been such a big thing, not mainly for people to use to vent and different things like that. Do you think social media can be used to build a business?
Oh, for sure. I think you have to watch it. So when I would do network marketing way back in the day, it'd give me a great story on that. So if I forget the question, remind me. So we used to we had to play an instrument, right? And that's why I could. Right? I watch you dance, and I'm like, man, I should have made him play an instrument. Anyway, and so we had an older cousin, and then my older brother, and there was me, and there was my younger cousin, and then my oopsie brother came, 13 years later, and so Lance, my cousin, played the trumpet. Yeah. Then my older brother, my other brother, my brother from another mother, played the trumpet. So what did I do? I played the trumpet just for a while though. Okay. And so I played the clarinet. Number 1, there's a really good chick that was when I was in 4th grade. But number 2, I wanted to be different. I always like to be a little different, But at first you do, whatever. Yeah. So I'm sitting there with my aunt, and we would go back to back for the trumpet guy, the trumpet teacher. And so I'm sitting with my aunt, and I think I was like 9 years old, and she starts talking to me about this thing called Amway. I thought it was the best concept ever, just conceptually, even at 9 years old. So she was telling me what she's doing, and I'm like, well, they train you for free? Yeah. Oh, my mom's having to pay the trumpet guy to train me. So I'm like, that's interesting. And then she said, yeah, and you can make money off other people's efforts. And I'm like, tell me more, baby. Right. And then she said, but you can also just make a lot of money and help a bunch of people on your own. So I always had this multi-level marketing. People go, it's pyramid, it's illegal, it's a scheme and all that. I'm like, anyway, I don't get into it with them anymore. Like, whatever. But multi-level marketing is a great place for people to start their first business. Okay. You don't have tons of overhead. You got to invest some stuff. Yeah. But you're basically getting free training, and you're learning everything that you'd have to know about a regular business. Okay. Right? And so I thought to myself, man, what a great concept. And yet people bash that concept. Yeah. And it's fine. I mean, if you're not into, I don't do multi-level marketing, now. Yeah. But man, it was a great entry point. And for some people, it's a great, it's been great for 100 years and will continue to be. And I'm not saying I would never open up my own multi-level marketing business. And technically, the insurance business has a hint of that. Yeah, absolutely. So what was the doggone question? Because I knew I'd forget, but I need to tell that story because, you don't know what you're going to pick up. My aunt was just talking to me. Oh, right. And I'm like, at 9 years old. And I never got into multi-level marketing until I was 30. But I remembered it conceptually. Yeah.
The question was, can you grow a business with social media?
Can we talk about multi-level marketing? Yeah, of course, right? Yeah. And again, what do you call growth versus scale versus whatever? Right. Absolutely. Listen, I think that you can grow a business whether you're the local lemonade stand on the corner, okay, or whether you're a brick and mortar, a separate brick and mortar, whether you're a brick and mortar that's technically part of a plaza or a mall. Yeah. I think it can be online. I think it can be, right. We have a guy in town, I forget the name of it, but there's a rich neighborhood in town where they do a lot of the Christmas lights. Oh yeah. And this dude at 7, 8 years old, he did hot chocolate. And it's a big deal. I forget the guy. You know what I'm talking about? Yeah. Charlie's or something.
Yes.
Okay, well, anyway, think about that. I mean, that dude grew that thing to monumental whatever.
Right.
And, you know, he just kept plugging away over time. I guess apparently he made a good product. I'm never going to go wait in line to try his product. But, right, and then it kind of took on. I think he started to do a lot of charity work with it. And the news got, you know, right?
Yeah.
And so it just continued to grow and grow and grow and grow at whatever level, I don't know.
Yeah.
So whether you're a little lemonade stand or a hot chocolate place, you don't know where that can go.
Right, absolutely. And when it comes to having Brett Zandis as the person on social media and Coach LittleZ as the what would you call that, entity?
I call them both entities, but one's me as Brett Zandis.
Yeah.
What my wife calls me sometimes, mainly she calls me Coach, but no, but you know, right?
Yeah.
And then you have like your alter ego or your alias, which is Coach LittleZ 23 or whatever.
Right. So,
but both are entities in our structure.
Yes, got it. So maybe the better question for this one would be: you have Brett Zandis and you have Consult for Kids.
Yes.
Which is a business.
Yes.
Would you use Brett Zandis to
promote?
Yeah, thank you. Promote Consult for Kids.
I get extra money if I put words in his mouth. I'm like,
to promote Consult for Kids and vice versa, Consult for Kids to promote Brett Zandis.
Absolutely. You know, both formally and informally. So, you know, when we do these videos, I promote a lot of different companies. True.
Absolutely.
I mean, you know, I've said Cool Whip or, you know, Tesla or, you know, whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if it's really promoting, but if I get one view, it's promoted.
Right.
If the one views me, I'm promoting it back to myself.
Yeah.
So sure, you know, and that's more informally. I'm not getting paid by any of these guys yet.
Yeah.
Right? We're helping kids, people. Send us some money through our nonprofit. But, you know, Gary Vee, whatever, right? I mean, every time you mention these names, you're promoting or cross-promoting, which is really what you're talking about. And we do that informally with companies that we like or people that have, you know, helped us in some way or people that we know or that we've heard of or companies. But, yeah, we intentionally try to do that without oversaturating. We don't want to become spammy.
Right.
So, you know, and that's the hard thing. How do you, because we like volume.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I love volume. Like, I was never the guy that wanted to buy a $100 item and sell for $200.
Yeah.
I wanted to buy 10, you know, because I just feel like it helped more people.
Right.
But yeah, cross promotion, informally, I believe we do it all the time.
Gotcha. And
I'm like, hey, I'm Brett Zandis.
Yeah.
Hey, have you heard of Coach LittleZ 23? Oh, he's really cool.
Absolutely. Do you believe that social media, you know, like doing that through, you know, like you said, multiple personalities, not personalities, but different accounts, do you think that becomes a double-edged sword at some point?
Yeah, I mean, right? I mean, what we're trying to do is say we can help people.
Yes.
That's the bottom line. And so we know to be able to help people, we have to get their attention.
Yes.
And as we're, you know, getting their attention, we're building, you know, the tribe.
Right.
As Seth Godin says, right? We're building the tribe.
Yeah.
That's his name. But anyway, he's a cool dude. Or seems cool. See, promotion. There you go. Go buy his book or something. So, you know, what's happening is that we're building a tribe. And so in certain businesses, we have very large tribes.
Yeah.
And tribes, the way we look at it, isn't just people that will buy from us. Tribes are that we've helped people.
Yeah.
So we're getting down to the actual number of how many youth we've helped in Consult for Kids. Yeah. And we believe it's around 40 million. And we're going to find out for sure. So we tracked it for a long time, and then we thought we were tracking it, and we weren't. And so, yeah, it kind of bit us in the butt a little bit. There's only a little dip, but I want to get, you know, especially because I want to, you know, I don't want to ever say something that's not true. Absolutely. And so this really kind of hit me where I was like, man, 40 million? I think we have. Right. And so, but I want to get, we're working on getting an accurate number to make sure that that's right. So hopefully it's not like 500,000, right?
Yeah.
I mean, hopefully, but I know where about it is, but I want to get, you know, kind of more exacting numbers. Yeah. And so, what was the question again? I'm sorry.
Double-edged sword.
Yeah. So yeah, I think it can be a double-edged sword because, you know, we can help you, period. In the conversation. Try us, right? We can help you.
Yeah.
but in the same breath, we're not trying to oversaturate, especially with the cross-pollination, where they're like, yeah, we like you, Brett, but we don't like Coach LittleZ 23, which is possible, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And so, hey, it's a balance. It's a happy medium. We're trying to find where we're not too much, but we're enough to where we can get your attention.
Absolutely. And so there was something that you said that triggered this. I can't remember exactly what it was, but talking about your hiring process and a video that you've done already, and going back to like the NFL draft. I don't know if you remember this, but on draft day, Josh Allen, people went looking in 2012.
Yeah.
So, he got drafted in 2018 or 2012. Yeah. He had a tweet that went out, and that was a double-edged sword.
Yeah.
One, what are your thoughts on that for someone maybe you're hiring? Let's say you're going through their thing, and 5 years ago you saw something that was tweeted out that obviously wasn't correct or different things like that. Is that a tough?
Yeah, I mean, this is what cracks me up about people. Let's go take anybody in the audience. Let's go take you, me, or anybody else on our worst day.
Yeah.
And somehow it gets out on social media or whatever. Yeah. There is none of us that are going to look good. Not a one.
No.
Mother Teresa on her worst day would look like a jackass. Yeah. Right? And so, I'm not going to take. I look at the motion picture as a whole. Yeah. I don't look at snapshots and say whatever. Now, of course, I'm going to ask you about that. Right. And they did ask Josh Allen, and he's like, "Yeah, I was being stupid and dumb, and I'm not." I think was it like a racial thing or something?
He was singing a song, and it just happened to have an N-word in it, I think, or something. But yeah, something like that.
Yeah, I mean, come on, man.
Yeah.
Like we were all, in high school, and I can name 4 minutes ago, while we're in the interview, I just said 4 dumb things.
Right.
So, hey, I do the best I can. I'm assuming others do. Yeah. And if you're a true jackass and a donkey, it will come out.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Because if you hear something, I've seen a lot of people on the paper or TV, and they look like donkeys. And I met them, and I'm like, yeah, this doesn't seem like a donkey to me.
Right.
So then I would just pretty straight up anyway. I'd be like, hey, I saw you on the front cover of,
a news station.
Yeah, what was penitentiary.com or whatever. I would just ask them, and they're like, yeah, this is what happened. And we know it to be true because there's movies, a lot of movies right now about that kind of stuff. So Josh Allen seems like a great kid. I don't really know anything about him, although he's not that far from us from Fireball. Yeah. They used to have some really good girls basketball teams. I'm like, Fireball? What comes good out of Fireball? Josh Allen.
Yeah.
I just sent a rookie card, a graded 10 rookie card to a guy that we're doing some business with. He was real excited. He loved the Buffalo Bills.
Oh, yeah.
And he was going to be our text platform. It didn't work out, but, he was a cool dude, so I sent it to him. But, yeah, I think that, listen, I love these crucifiers, and I want to go, yeah, let me see you on your worst day. Right. And let's see, guess what? We're all going to get to see that one day. Yeah. It's all going to be revealed. For 1,000 years, we get to look in the books. And so because I know that, I still mess up a bunch.
Right.
But I'm very aware of it, even if it's for selfish reasons.
Yeah.
Right, I don't want to be a donkey, but we're all donkeys anyway, so what the heck?
Yeah, absolutely. And so when it comes to social media, again, we know that there's distinctions in age groups. Facebook is kind of for the older people, Twitter's kind of for the younger people.
Yeah, that's funny. Yeah. It was all younger people. The older people went on to spy on their kids, and then the kids were out of here.
Left, right, and then Instagram's kind of for all age groups.
Yeah.
Snapchat's kind of for all age groups. So, it's intermingled in different things like that. You're using all different types of social media platforms.
Yeah. I give my TikTok.
Yeah, you got TikTok.
Yeah.
Which one of all the different social medias do you think has been the most beneficial for you guys in your different businesses and entities?
I can't answer because we're just on the prefaces. Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
We're on the beginnings. Yeah. They're like, "Are you sure Utah School?" I'm like, I coach PE.
Yeah.
It's funny how they're all coaches are dumb. Like, we're really not that dumb. We're actually pretty good.
Yeah.
Sometimes. But yeah, I was a good language arts, as you can see. Yeah, so we're just now starting to figure that out. So
Okay.
I would not want to speak on that because I wouldn't necessarily, I have my thoughts about it.
Yeah.
But until we have more success than we do, it would be, I think, a disadvantage to the audience, and I would never do that.
Gotcha. So then maybe a better question is, which one are you looking forward to most?
Whichever one works.
Okay.
Yeah. Right. I'll get my little tick on my TikTok. I can get a little. I think on the videos that they did, that Jesus put together, I did my little. Yeah. I used to be able to vibrate, dude, where I could vibrate and just move forward. Anyway, so whatever works, right?
Yeah.
Look, it's just simple. I want to help as many people as we can.
Right.
And there's a bunch of ways we can help. And that's all. I don't care about anything else. I don't care about popularity. I don't care about if you like me, you don't like me. If I can help you and you hate me, great. I'm still cool with that.
Yeah.
Now I hope you like me.
Right.
But you don't need to like me.
Yeah.
Because you don't like me sometimes.
Oh, I like you all the time.
Now see, he's lying. I told him not to do that.
No.
The shame on you.
Oh, okay. I love you all the time.
There you go. Right, we're not always all liked.
Absolutely.
I do that.
Yeah.
Most of the time.
Okay.
And you cut your hair.
Yeah, that's gotta happen. So last one, on the last one, when I said, final thoughts, you did final five. I didn't like that. So now I'm going to beat you to the punch. Are there any final punches? Or final thoughts?
Oh, maybe a punch
yeah.
or two.
Before we go to bonus questions.
No, again, I hope that these videos are helpful. We try to, give a lot of content.
Yeah.
We don't want to just talk. Sometimes I hear people just talking in theory.
Right.
Which is important. That's the mindset.
Yeah.
But we also want to talk about step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, or even step 1, step 1.1, step 1, sometimes, and different things of that nature. So we hope that we're, providing that for the audience. And again, we may be ahead of the curve, especially in regards to the systems, because people are like, it's not very sexy. And it's not. Systems aren't sexy, right? You're sexy, but systems aren't that sexy. Yeah. But you know what? Neither was an online business 400 years ago. There's no such thing.
Yeah.
It's become pretty darn sexy now.
Yeah.
So, we're hoping that it becomes sexy because I think it's right and it works and it helps and all that.
Yeah.
If you need to contact Brett or Coach, please do so on his social media accounts, email, and or text. You can find that information in the description below. Again, please like, subscribe, comment, share, and hit the notification bell. Thanks, and we hope you enjoyed.
Testing 1, 2, 3, testing.